Hello, everyone, and welcome to this evening's metta practice. So I'm just going to give people a few more minutes to come on. And is the mic okay? Let me know if it's not working. And I've written in the, thank you, Nicole. And I've written in the sidebar in the chat the metta phrases that we're going to be using tonight. So I'm very, very glad to have you here with me doing this really beautiful practice. My little bell. Okay. So Sangha is one of the three jewels or refuges in Buddhist practice. And the refuges or the jewels are the Buddha, which is really the possibility of awakening in this lifetime, the Dharma, which is the vast collections, teachings of wisdom and compassion. And finally, there's the Sangha. And the Sangha is the community of persons practicing together. And as my friend and teacher, Larry Yang, points out, our spiritual practice really is awakening together through inclusivity. And this is inclusivity of ourselves. We can bring all of ourselves into our practice, and it's inclusivity of other humans. We can share this practice with everyone. So it's this inclusivity and community. And really, metta practice supports us in doing this. And tonight's phrases may be different than the ones you usually use, but I would really encourage you to try working with them, because at its most basic level, metta, loving kindness, is really the aspiration to abandon any ill will toward ourselves and others. And this is really the practice of non-harming for ourselves, non-harming for others. And this then becomes the foundation from which we can develop our capacity for connection, for friendliness, kindness toward ourselves and others. So I hope you will experiment and work with the phrases we have for this evening. So one of the lovely pieces of advice about doing loving kindness practice is that it is best done when we are physically comfortable. So if you're able to find a posture that feels supportive but relaxed. I know a lot of people really like to do loving kindness practice lying down. So if that would be what would support you best, please feel free to do that. But it is really trying to bring this sense of friendliness toward every aspect of the practice, and our own physical comfort while we do this is important. So in this practice, if anyone here is not familiar with it, we begin with the person who is easiest, which is usually ourselves. If that turns out not to be good, you could start with someone else, a dear friend, a benefactor. But the idea is to go from that progression of the easiest to those who are less easy to include in our practice. So, and we will begin now. So just begin by appreciating that you are able to follow through on your intention and be here this evening. And just recognize how many times in our life we have this really good intention to take care of ourselves, to to extend our practice, and life just gets in the way. So just begin by appreciating, having some gratitude that you were able to follow through on the intention to be here and do this practice this evening. Sharon Salzberg often says about loving kindness and love is that it's not a feeling, it's an ability. It's an ability that we can develop and strengthen. So have some patience with yourself if this is something that feels a little awkward or if you're struggling with it a little, just have that patience. This is an ability that can be developed. So we'll begin with ourselves. And if you can visualize yourself, either yourself as you are now, or you could visualize yourself at a time when it was really difficult, when you could have used some more support. And just having this very tender image of ourselves. May I be safe and protected in all ways. May I be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to me. May no inner or outer harm come to me. May I find strength. May I find strength. May I find peace. May I find peace. May I accept myself completely and with great kindness, just as I am right now. May I accept myself completely and with great kindness, just as I am right now. Just continue to visualize yourself. Pay attention to your feelings. May I be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to me. May I find strength. May I find peace. May I accept myself completely with great kindness, just as I am right now. May I be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to me. May I find strength. May I find peace. May I accept myself completely and with great kindness, just as I am right now. And just bring a gentle awareness to any resonance that has for you. And you can continue, excuse me, continue offering metta to yourself. Or if you'd like, you could bring into your field of loving kindness someone who is very dear to you, someone for whom it is easy to offer these good wishes. And as best you can, visualize that person. Have a felt sense of them. And offer the same wholesome, kindly wishes that you had for yourself to them. May you be safe and protected in all ways, dear one. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. May you be safe and protected in all ways, dear one. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And again, just notice any resonance. Wishing well for this person who has been a source of goodness for us, who is dear to us. Offering the same good wishes that we have for ourselves. May you be safe and protected in all ways, dear one. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And you could continue with this dear one or with yourself, or if you are feeling this kind of friendliness, you could invite into your field of loving kindness either an individual who is a friend, or you might even want to bring in a group, maybe some family members, co-workers. Ask whomever it feels natural to move to next. Again, visualizing this person or persons. We offer the same good wishes we have for ourselves. May you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. Keeping the image of this person or persons in the foreground. May you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. May you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And you can stay with this friend or group, or if you're feeling a sense of infusion with metta, with loving kindness, feeling friendly, you could practice with the familiar stranger. And this is a person you see, but you don't really know. It might be your postal carrier, a cashier you encounter frequently. It might be a person you see who has a sign asking for help. So just visualize this person that you don't really know and recognize that they have the same yearning, excuse me, the same yearning for peace, for safety, for acceptance. So visualize the familiar stranger. May you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And just notice how that resonates to offer these same good wishes that you have for yourself, that you've shared with your dear one, friends, family, and now extending that to someone you don't really know. Our familiar stranger. May you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And only if it doesn't feel forced or phony, you might bring to mind someone who is mildly annoying, a person with whom you may have some difficulties. And again, in the practice, we begin with sort of the easiest difficult person. And if this doesn't feel right for you, you can just bring to mind another friend, another person, and continue offering metta. But if you'd like to try working with a person with whom you have difficulties, you can visualize that person. And if you can, bring to mind any good qualities that person has. Although they might not be directed toward you, you may be able to recognize some good qualities that that person has. And you can recognize that this person has the same creaturely wishes for protection, for peace, for acceptance that you do. You have that in common. So visualizing this individual, and connecting with your intention to abandon all ill will, may you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And just notice how that feels. May you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to you. May you find strength. May you find peace. May you accept yourself completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And finally, I invite you to choose a category of persons that you'd like to offer loving kindness to. It could be a category, a category of persons who are experiencing suffering at this time. It could be a category of persons you're very grateful to, healthcare workers, librarians. Just choose a category that you'd like to offer, a category of persons you'd like to offer loving kindness to. Hold that category in your heart. May you be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to any of you. May you all find strength. May you all find peace. May you all accept yourselves completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. And just let your metta suffuse this group. May you all be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to any of you. May you all find strength. May you all find peace. May you all accept yourselves completely and with great kindness, just as you are right now. Metta, loving kindness, is a boundless quality, one of the immeasurables. So in our boundaryless field of metta, we bring together ourselves, the dear ones each of us offered metta to tonight, the friends or family members, the familiar strangers, and whatever category of person we especially wanted to direct our loving kindness to tonight. May we all be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to any of us. May we all find strength. May we all find peace. May we all accept ourselves completely and with great kindness, just as we are right now. May each and every one of us accept ourselves completely and with great kindness, just as we are right now. So thank you for your practice. Right. It's a practice I just love so much and really feel its transformative power. As you all may know, the Buddha taught this practice as an antidote to fear. And it's interesting that he taught this practice to a group of practitioners who felt unwelcome living in the forest. And the Buddha's advice was that the way to treat our own fear is to give no other being any reason to fear us. I think that's a remarkable insight. The way to treat our own fear is to give no other being a reason to fear us. If we are harmless, if we have no ill will, we're not a threat to anyone. And this really is the basis of nonviolence. That idea of not being a threat in our hearts. We're not a threat. The phrases that we use tonight acknowledge this universal longing for safety and protection, the freedom from any inner or outer harm. And the question comes up for me pretty naturally. Can we do this in community? Can we really live this practice in a community, in our spiritual community, in our civic community, in our national community, in our global community? And I think it's worth noting, this is something that really gives me a sense of hope. Each one of us is only here because someone cared enough about us, protected, sheltered, fed us to survive. And this caring capacity is really characteristic of our species. And I think it's the most important thing about our species, is this ability to care. It's the foundation of our species. And I mentioned a little earlier that Sharon Salzberg says, love is not a feeling, it's an ability. It's a capacity that we can develop. And because we are a caring species, it's something that actually comes pretty naturally. We are disposed to care. And I've been thinking particularly about safety and protection a lot, because I have this lovely little rescue dog who is just terrified by the sounds of firecrackers. And the nights are just a torment for her. She quivers, she runs from one place, she'll get in the closet, she'll go in the bathroom, she'll get in a little hidey hole she has in the bookcase. Every time a firecracker goes off, she just jumps up and runs to the next place. And they go on the whole night. They're just, I know that many people have been talking about this sort of increase in firecracker activity this year. And actually, I read today that firecracker sales are through the roof. It's a way of getting off some kind of energy, I guess. But, I really love this dog. And I can't protect her from the firecrackers. It's really, I think about, I had this impulse where I want to protect her, and I can't. But I can be with her, and I can be with her suffering. And this is compassion. When love encounters suffering, it becomes compassion. And so, we think about wanting to protect another. Often we can't even protect ourselves. But we can be with ourselves, and we can be with others. And it has seemed to me that this is something that we should be doing as a community. We should be there with each other, for each other, even if we can't completely protect each other, even if we can't make things completely safe. It's sort of showing up and being there. And this morning I was reading an essay by the brilliant cultural critic Hilton Als in the current New Yorker, and it just about gutted me. He was writing about growing up Als is African American. He was writing about growing up in Brooklyn in the 60s and 70s, where there were a whole series of conflicts between police and young people, and it often resulted in fires and in riots and in looting, and these repeated eruptions caused his family to move numerous times from one apartment to another. And I'm going to read an excerpt from that because it really touched me about safety and protection, and this longing that we have. You know, as a caring species, we long to protect each other. And he says, no place was safe because wherever we congregated was unsafe. The laws of real estate, economics, and racism made us unsafe. And take that in. There was no place was safe because wherever we congregated was unsafe. The laws of real estate, economics, and racism made us unsafe. And a little bit later, he says, the question for me from Brownsville on, and Brownsville was the first part of Brooklyn that he lived in, was how could I protect my mother and the other women in my family when the riots came again, and they always came? Adults are supposed to protect children, yes, but when I was growing up, it didn't necessarily work that way. It wasn't that your mother didn't care. You were all she had. It was just that she kept running out of time. In addition to her full-time job, and often a second job, there was the work that went into feeding you, listening to you, and making sure that no one laughed at you or cracked you in the face because you had dreams. As a boy in Brownsville and in Bed-Stuy, I was tormented by the question of protection because, of course, I too wanted to be protected. Like any number of Black boys in those neighborhoods, I grew up in a matrilineal society where I had been taught the power, the necessity of silence. But how could you not cry out when you couldn't save your mother because you couldn't defend yourself? May we be safe and protected in all ways. May no inner or outer harm come to us. This is so basic. This is such a primal longing. And I remember a couple of years ago when we were having a community conversation, Ayo Utundi, who is one of the Dharma teachers at Common Ground and a professor and writer, Ayo asked, do we really have each other's backs? Can we count on each other? Can we trust each other to have each other's backs? And in this anxious and somewhat fearful time, this time of pandemic, and this time of a huge national reckoning about the inequities and the suffering caused by racism, the enduring systemic inequities. what does safety and protection look like? What does it look like for ourselves, our spiritual community, our civic community, our global community? How do we practice in a way that supports protection and safety? And I think this is where the last phrase that we used in our practice tonight is really important. May I accept myself completely and with great kindness, just as I am right now. This is the invitation to bring our whole selves into the light. This is the invitation to see our wholesome qualities and our good intentions, and to really, really appreciate that. It's also the intention to see what is difficult to acknowledge in each of us. Our denial, our shame, our judgment, our ignorance, our fear, confusion, addictive personalities, our racism. And for each of us to be able to see ourselves clearly and without ill will is a real challenge. To bring this loving acceptance to that whole constellation of qualities, tendencies, all of those things that have brought us to this place without ill will. And that's a real challenge for those of us who have a real tendency towards self-loathing, to really see that and to hold it and to bring kindness to it. Because when we look at these tendencies, these qualities, we see that they are conditioned and they're also impermanent. But we have to see them. Someone I was listening to early this week said, the thoughts we have are the culture's thoughts. They're not all original with us. A lot of the thoughts, a lot of the conditioning, our own timidity, our own pulling back about things, that these are all things that we've learned in our culture. So we need to recognize their conditioned and impermanent nature. We can see what's been harmful in our intention about non-harming. We can bring this kindly light of loving kindness to see what's been harmful. And it might be this ill will toward ourselves. We can kindly recognize this as wrong view. I think it's Joseph Goldstein, and this is a sort of paraphrase, but he says something like, when we think of ourselves as unworthy, that's just wrong view. So we can look at these kinds of conditioned aspects of ourselves in the light of loving kindness, recognizing that we want to be protected, we want to be safe, we want to be free from all inner and outer harm, and to really take note of the inner harm that we sometimes perpetrate on ourselves. So we try to relate skillfully, kindly to all of this baggage that we bring because we want to bring our whole selves in the room. We can't really be honest with each other. We can't really know each other if we're not able to be honest with ourselves. So we want to do this, and we want to do it in a community that embraces inclusivity and connection, that supports a sense of safety. Safety in a world that is constantly changing, where the future is, as always, unknown. Now that we, in the metta practice, we acknowledge our yearning to be safe and protected, our yearning to be free from inner or outer harm. And we know that we do this in a world that is constantly changing, that's very conditional. And so we can ask what we can rely on. And metta allows us to be intimate with ourselves. Metta really allows us to be intimate with ourselves and to pay attention differently, to pay attention with kindliness. And then maybe we can awaken together. Maybe we can have each other's backs. When we do our own work, we become more available, accessible, better able to support others. We can have each other's backs. And doing this in community, doing it in a Dharma community, where we're doing it with Dharma friends who are just like us, committed to waking up, committed to living a more connected life. And some of you may have been listening to some of Shelley's talks in her podcast, where she's talked so much about this idea about being connected, about belonging. How can we belong to each other? How can we belong to each other? You know, belonging is a close, secure relationship. How can we really bring ourselves to be able to do that, to connect, to commit? And I think this is a profound Dharma question. And right now, when there are so many clear external threats, coronavirus, a lot of disruption, distress, and a need to find a way forward, a need to be able to be helpful and compassionate in these really difficult times. Doing our own work with metta is really important. And feeling that we're not alone doing it. We're not alone in doing this work. And that's really important. So I want to end my little talk here with by telling you about a practice that Ruth King does. And Ruth teaches mindfulness of race, and just this wonderful, wonderful practice. She says, I am only here because you are here. You are here. You are only here because I am here. We belong to each other. Our hearts are old friends. I am only here because you are here. You are only here because I am here. We belong to each other. Our hearts are old friends. And I think if we can practice like that, with this tender heart, with this kindliness and compassion for ourselves, with a great tenderness for this yearning for protection, for safety, to be free from harm. And we really find that, or I believe we can find that in Sangha, that we can find that in our community, or even where things are changing, we feel protected, we feel secure because of our understanding of ourselves, our deep understanding of ourselves, our understanding of our motivations, and our love for the Dharma and for each other. We can awaken together. We can transform together. So, I don't know if anyone would like to, you could type something in chat if you'd like to make a comment. I invite you to do that. Well, I'll close first by saying that it was not my intention to offend anyone. So if anything I've said has been harmful, I truly apologize. The fact of my intention doesn't excuse me from any impact. So if I have said anything that was at all hurtful or harmful, I sincerely apologize. And let's end then by sharing the merit, which is such a beautiful ritual. And it's really an act of imaginative generosity. It's this idea that if we have something wonderful, we would just love to give it away. It would give us such great joy to give it away. So being mindful of the goodness in our life, the blessings, if there's any benefit to us at all in what we have done tonight, we would gladly, joyfully, happily share it with others, give it away completely to our parents, our teachers, our friends, our colleagues, members of our Dharma community, members of our civic community, our national community, our global community. May all beings find protection, find safety. May all beings find self-acceptance. May all beings taste the joy of freedom and be truly liberated in this lifetime.